for those of you who don't know me, which you probably don't, my name is Mel. Actually, it's Marie-Ève Lacelle, but no one can say my name in other languages than French, so I go by Mel. I also have a secret, not so secret identity as the Bird Brain on YouTube. I am the annoying bluebird who does tutorials for free. You can go check them out. The link is going to be in the chat eventually. I've worked a couple years in the industry on a couple of shows like Wakfu, Glitch Sticks, Big Hero 6, and a bunch of others. And I've been at Toon Boom for, yes, many years. I forgot how many. Teach and I work on developing the softwares and also entertain you guys on these cool Twitch streams so that we can all learn from one another, because you will always learn something from a new person you meet, or so I believe. And today, the subject, like I said, is, animation, of course, but more or less like going around education. Like, how do we learn through animation and stuff like that? So as usual, I forgot to say the little rules of code of conduct of our streams. Please be nice. We're all here to have a good time. If you ask questions in the chat, we'll be more than happy to answer. And of course, don't ask anything that would make us break NDA. We won't. We are trained to never speak of such things. And just be nice.
Yeah.
And
like I said
the stream.
Earlier.
Oh yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Okay. Like I said earlier, I couldn't share any stuff that I've been working on recently. So I just did a small animation of my little character.
To get questions, we need to get content. So let's get the ball rolling. So, enough of me talking. Mr. Rosado, can you please introduce yourself to us? So maybe your name again, and tell us a little bit about your journey learning animation. So like, did you go to school? Did you learn everything on your own in a cave? What's up with you?
Okay, I'll tell you my journey. It started off, first of all, my name is Mr. Rosado, Christian Esteban Rosado Garcia. And I'm an animator from Puerto Rico. So my art journey actually started when I was very young. I started with fights, doing like pastels, watercolors, all that traditional art stuff. And when I was 19, I was looking for like possible like careers I could go through when I was smaller, and then I noticed that animation was a job, and I did not know that before. I thought it was magic because I grew up in a farm in Puerto Rico, so I looked up to education, and I first I applied for big animation universities, but it was too expensive, so I ended up going to art school in Puerto Rico, which I studied general animation, 3D, 2D, to some motion graphics, general stuff. And and basically I graduated from university and also did some online classes that I found through the websites. So yeah, that's basically my journey. And right now I've been working on different studios, mostly independent. So yeah.
Wonderful. And you were talking about independent project. So on top of going to school and making a bunch of short film for school, how many short films did you make for school actually?
How many short films? Oh, that's a good question. I made from my tenure, so when I started in 2016 and ended in 2020. I made five short films.
Damn.
Two of them were part with other people. Some other person directed it, and and three of them I directed it. So and from those three that I directed, two of them were one was the thesis or capstone, and the other was projects for one semesters. So yeah, so I made five.
Nice. And just as you were a student, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
All when I was a student. Yes.
That's crazy. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And with that, what is very interesting, because also when I was in school, our program, like officially, we only had to make like one actual big like short film, like animated short film, aside from smaller exercise, like one fully animated short film, and it was one everybody was doing their own. But yours, it was part of teams, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's super interesting as well.
There was. Mm-hmm.
No, go on.
I was gonna say that we did two films. So one is on your own, and you only had 3 months to do it, and the final film has to be in a team group project type of source where you are the
Okay, that's cool. So you got to see both sides of the mirrors, the metal or something. That's really cool. Because what I was about to say is that when I was in school, we only had like one final film to do. But when I graduated, I had like 4 films, I think. Because a lot of them I did in my free time. So yes, we're going to talk about your short films that you do at school or like in a environment. Tip that I can already say right away is, if you're a student and studying animation and stuff, yes, the work you do in school is important, but also like don't disregard that you can also do things outside of school, because when you graduate, people will usually have only like the same exercises into their portfolios. When you graduate, everybody has like the same exact portfolio because everybody did the same exercises. So the fact that you have maybe 1 or 2 extra things that other people don't have makes you a bit more tasty if people are looking at your portfolios. I'm just saying. And these can be done through
definitely.
right? And these can be done through either like online MAPs, like multiple animator projects that you can join like on YouTube, but also like small animation competitions or something, like contests and events. So always keep a lookout for those.
Yeah.
That being said,
that's probably the bulk of. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it. Go for it.
I was saying that's where the bulk of my short film experience in school was, like joining competitions and such.
Right.
Because almost yearly, my university used to hold like competitions for like, you only have 1 week to do an animation and you have to scramble on what to do.
Right, but these are so cool. I found that you learn so much to these like 1 or 2 day competition kind of thing. Sometimes with like 48 hours of animation or like the animation weekend so these are really, really cool. So never be afraid to join those. The worst is going to happen. It's like you're going to make a very bad movie. But that's okay. The goal is not to make it pretty. It's to learn from it. Okay, so we're going to start with talking a little bit about like planning a short film. Because you studied in a school, as did I, but you also worked in a school, right?
Sort of. I'm mostly studying in that school, but yeah.
I thought you mentored for like a semester or 2.
Not exactly. I did tutoring, but not mentoring.
Oh, tutoring. That's what I meant. Sorry, And going English is not your first language, mess up. But yeah, so do tutoring. That's what I meant. So you made movies, but you also kind of saw other people make their movies. So we can talk a little bit about like planning a student or thesis film. I say student film because not everybody goes to university, so like not everybody make like a thesis film. So I'm gonna call them student short film, but that's what I'm referring to. When you plan it, do you think that you planned your first student film the right way?
Oh, definitely.
If you say yes, there's a trapdoor that
time.
opens and it says that you're lying.
Oh, definitely. Like it's the first time you're gonna discover you're literally doing it without discovering new stuff and along the way, which is fun. But after you've done a specific task or something, you figure out there's a faster way to do it, and you're like.
So what you're telling me, Rosado, is that the first movie you do will not be perfect? You're gonna make mistakes.
The first short film that I was a part of that wasn't for a competition. Besides, well, we did win it, yes, but we never. After that, we never released it to the public.
Oh, really?
Because, yeah, like it was that weird time where in Puerto Rico the energy system wasn't all there. So some people had lights, some people didn't have power. So and we had to manage that, and so a lot of students' films weren't as great and all that, but we did win, and we were like never showed again.
Oh, that's cool. At least you won. That's kind of nice.
At least, yeah.
So, can you tell us what was because you made many short film. So, in terms of planning, what did you do that was different between your first short film and the last one you did, like in school,
Okay.
Actually, we're gonna talk about because you went to school, right? But you also did a lot of project on your own after school. So just to make it like as efficient as we can, let's compare the first short film you did in school to the latest short film you did outside of school, and how different was your planning of those?
Sure. So my first film it was a lot of like it was a lot of discovery, and also I was still learning animation, and one thing we forgot to do is, I think in the first film, is that we forgot to do storyboards.
No, what? You didn't have a storyboard? Like none. No, not even like how? Do you have a script at least?
We did like a script, but it was a very fast one. Again, this was for a competition, so we have a limited time, so we set the storyboard stage.
Unbelievable.
And we went for a straight ahead. We did straight ahead animation, which we didn't do step be the key poses first and all that. We just went directly
Okay, so
animating.
no storyboard and all in straight ahead. I'm shocked.
Yes,
I am shocked.
Again, first time doing a film.
Okay, and before we compare this to your latest one, what were the like? Did you run into some troubles because of that? Like, how did it go to do the movie like that?
Oh lordy! Like the colors were correct. The design of the character changed a lot because it's like I think we were like 7 or 6 people doing different styles.
Unbelievable.
So and that's why we never like show the animation again, because it's like it was very crazy. We won because well, I guess we were better than others, but it wasn't by that much.
Okay. Oh my god. Oh, that's crazy. Yo, thank you for sharing that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And if you compare this to the latest project you did, how different was the planning?
So the latest project, you're talking about professionally, right? I assume.
Yeah. Let's talk about like
the latest project.
like what's in the raccoon show you did on YouTube, for example.
Yeah, trailer trash. We
Exactly.
that I specifically directed the animation for that show, and the trailer trash is owned by Apeship, and it was a lot of fun. Like compared to my first time, it was a lot of fun, and we did have storyboards. Actually, we made several versions of that storyboard, so we get the right feel of the show,
Uh-huh.
and also this time it wasn't straight ahead. It was more, but it was more combination of like 2D cutout animation and 2D with the cutout being most of the show, and there was a lot of better organization. Like we had a spreadsheet.
Oh, spreadsheet. That's a keyword.
Each shot was,
Important.
oh yes, spreadsheets are always important for animation, just to keep, especially if you have a 2 minute plus animation with a lot of sequences and such. Just to keep yourself just to keep yourself organized and others organized. And one major thing about this is that I was working with other people that knew what we're doing, what they were doing. So
well, yeah, because now you know how to animate.
We have a lot. Exactly. So we had a lot of confidence. It was a lot easier to pass through the job to different people and delegate. Oh, that's another keyword. Delegate. Important for later.
Yeah.
So since they know what they're doing, and they have a clear character design concept and all that, there were minimal mistakes to none, and yeah, and I think, and also the major difference from my first to my last is that we actually composited this one, because the first one we didn't know what compositing was. We edited it,
Okay.
but we didn't composite. And for those who don't know what compositing is it's basically adding lights and shadows, or the feel or the feel of the animation. So for Trailer Trash, I composite the whole I think it was 5 minute show. Yeah, the whole 5 minute show. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, in terms of the keywords that we said, if you're planning a student short film, we know you don't know everything yet. You still have to learn. But if you want to learn from our mistakes, here are some things that you need. First, you need a storyboard. If you don't know
definitely. You need a story.
If you don't know what a storyboard is, you can Google it, or you can look at our YouTube channel, the Toon Boom YouTube channel, because we have a backlog of all of the cool Twitch stream we did with Mike Morris. He does one storyboard a week almost, so that's pretty cool. Go check that out. So Rosie, like the backbone of your project. Script is optional. Not gonna lie, I never had scripts for any short films that I did. So, and the other thing we talked about was a spreadsheet. Spreadsheets are so important. You don't need it to make it like super crazy, right? Just like go into Google Sheet. It's free. It's nice. Just at least like bare minimum, the just write what your scenes are in there, like 0, 1, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 3, 0, right? You write like how long, how many frames they are, and then just something simple as like background, rough animation, model, cleanup, color, and comp. Like the bare necessities of your pipeline. And when it's done, you get to check them. And then when it's all checked, you get like serotonin boost. It's pretty cool. But yeah, like spreadsheet,
Mm-hmm.
so important. Yeah, do you have anything to add about spreadsheets?
Oh yes,
Go for
it's
it.
like you mentioned. It's small, but it's so good to have a like a check mark. Like once you check that out of like
Oh,
a or a shot, it feels so good uh, uh, because you know, so you see progression. One thing that I talk about short films that we that it's the hardest part is that the easiest part of a short film is starting one and quote unquote ending one. Well,
yeah, finishing it.
the middle is like the middle. Oh yeah, finishing, yeah. Well, the middle is like the most boring part. You're literally working through it, and and the progression is slow, and you think like nothing is moving. But having a visual like checking parts and all that will have you and your team motivated to keep going and such.
That is true. I didn't mention the motivation part, but that is so true. Just to see the progression, so useful. And the other uh, keyword was, what was it? Delegating. The delegate work.
Delegating.
Teamwork. If you can.
Oh yes,
Of course,
delegate
if
work.
you're alone on your project, you delegate to yourself. But if you're in a group project, you have to learn to, like, I wouldn't say trust people because not everybody's trustworthy. Like, that's one thing I had. That's one gripe I had for the Raya Dragon movie. It was like, like you shouldn't actually trust everyone. Some people are not nice. So, like, we're not saying
Yeah.
to trust everyone in your team, but what I would recommend
Sure.
is to choose your battles. Not
Oh
every
yes.
battles is worth
Oh
fighting,
definitely.
right? What can you say about that?
Yeah. But I can talk about a lot about delegation, and it's knowing
Go for it.
it's knowing what you have in your team and what their strengths are, and and like you mentioned, not everybody is gonna have the same skill set or the same or, or the same thing that they excel at, and sometimes and sometimes you gotta make some sacrifices if you have not many options. One thing I remember from working on my final film in university was that it was my thesis film, and I was directing everybody and gave everybody their stuff to work on, and the final and my professor was like, "Hey, and we have this extra student that came in, and we couldn't put him in any team, so we're gonna put it in yours. Deal with it."
Deal with
And this
it.
person basically, and this person missed class and also wasn't the best artist, and he worked on a very different style. But one thing that he did have was 3D experience. Again, what I was working on was a 2D film, so we didn't need 2D that much. But what he could do is like model some background work, and we can use those simple backgrounds and cubes as a reference for so for for when we draw the background. So that's why I asked him, like, if you have if you have a person in your team that you're forced to work with that isn't the strongest, give him something that it'll be beneficial but not crucial. Exactly.
Oh, that's so smart. Beneficial but not crucial.
And for people who exactly if he doesn't complete it, if he didn't complete it the 3D, it wasn't like important for. I mean, it was important, but not that important for the film. So have something to do, and if you did it, good. If you didn't, well, we'll just deal with it later. But with my most beneficial team members in that school project, I gave them basically the best shots and also the hard quote unquote hardest shots. So and I remember that there was one crew in that project that did basically, I think he did like from 20 to 16 shots from that short film.
Damn.
So I get yeah, he was a workhorse. So I gave him shots, and of course I made sure that the professor gave him a good grade. So yeah.
Yeah. About grade, one thing I would argue with short films, like student short, is that I believe it's not so much about the grade. It's a lot about learning, because I see a lot of students who are afraid to try things while they are students because they are afraid, and not just for short film. That's just for like school in general. A lot of students are afraid to try anything they're not good at because they're afraid that they're not going to get a crazy grade. I'm not saying that set up yourself for failure, right? But I am saying it a little bit because you're better to fail as a student than to fail as a professional person in a professional industry. So I would recommend, while you're in school, this is the time to experiment, to get out of your comfort zone and learn new things that you don't already know. Maybe not for your final film, but like as you study in school, don't be too afraid of not getting it right. I'm not saying that you should like fail your classes and get thrown out of school, but like you don't need, like, you're okay. Yeah, the 100% grade you get in school will 100% not matter once you graduate, because this is just like what your school says, like what certain teacher decided that your work was worth, right? So it's not the end of the world, and it's especially not like gonna make that big of a difference when you start to work. And I don't know for you, Rosado, but I'm a living example of that. I was okay in school. I never had the craziest grades, not because I didn't try, just because I wasn't that great to begin with. I was a happy average person. Nothing too special, nothing too crazy. But when we graduated, I had learned so much from my mistakes, and I was able to find work. And if at work I struggled, I knew how to get around it, which some of my colleagues who were stars, it's not colleagues, but like co-students who were like star of the program, like when they faced adversities in the workplace, they were like, my life is over. So in school, I think if you can, guys, make mistakes. And remember that these short films, no matter how good it is, when you graduate, you're going to hate it anyway. So.
Oh, yes.
Right? Don't. Yeah.
Like I mentioned before, this logo is for the. I mean, this animation is for my demo reel. So as a animation for my mascot, and I checked my demo reels, and they have, and I basically it's all my old work from university has already been replaced with new ones. So
right. And we're not saying hate it as if like you're gonna look at your project and be like, oh, I hate everything it is. Just like you're it anyway. So don't because some people think, oh, my short film has to be the greatest film ever. I'm like, no, it's supposed to be something for you to learn and experiment and stuff.
Oh, definitely.
And yeah, so yeah.
Like it's not gonna be your masterpiece,
right? Okay, I was just looking at the chat. Okay. So the questions in the chat are a bit unrelated to the subject, so I will probably answer them later, like in the chat. But yeah. So like it's more like any tips for animating in general. Like we can talk about that at the end of the stream, probably. So when you're in school making either like your short films or activities, what are common problems that can occur in these pipelines? And how do we work around it? Like, what are some common problems that you faced when you were doing your shorts in school? I know we mentioned one, but like some teammates not pulling their weights. But like, was there more?
A common problem that I had, and it was more of an organizational thing, and especially for group projects, is when you accidentally give a shot, the same shot, to people.
What? I mean, if you had an Excel sheet, this would not happen.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's not that sometimes people take too long with the shots, and I was impatient.
Oh, you did not. Oh my lord, no. Horrible.
Again,
So what did you do?
It was a mistake. I basically what I did is like took the best thing of both shots and just mix and match together, because they were from good animators. So basically I spliced them together. Yeah.
I hope you bought nice dinners to those who animated that.
Oh yeah. Both of them were my friends, so I bought them some coffee. When that happened.
That makes up for it. That's cool. And what are some non? Oh yeah, sorry, you had more. Go for it. You were about to add something.
One common mistake on the pipeline is that when one part of the pipeline takes a lot longer than you expect, and if you're working on school, you expect sometimes it goes through your mind that things are gonna go faster than what they actually gonna go. Like for instance, I thought my final students film was gonna we're gonna finish it in 6 months. It took us 9 months.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah. So what I recommend is that don't be too hard headed on like trying to finish in time.
Just try to finish it.
Just try to go with the flow and try. It's try to finish it. Yeah, just go with the flow and just have your mindset of like finish, not perfect, because being a perfectionist is not going to help that much in finishing a short. I have a lot of classmates that were directors in their own student shorts that couldn't finish because they want that short to be as perfect as possible, and what they ended up is like finishing like 2 scenes and that's it, or if they're working on 3D, that render is gonna take so much time that only the most powerful computers can render that scene.
Yeah, that's not very efficient.
Were you gonna ask a question, C?
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask. A common problem that I was gonna say also that happens is people always underestimate how important the length of a storyboard in animatic is. So when you do your storyboard or animatic, one good rule of thumb, and it kind of depends like with the length, but like if you have a storyboard that is like animatic that is like 30 seconds long, you can easily expect that your short film, like the final, will be around a minute to a minute 30. So if you plan on 30 seconds, you will make it longer in animation. So if you take that rule and apply it to, say you make, because the school I went to was very adamant with the animatic being 30 seconds long. If you had one millisecond more, you would fail it. Like they were like 30 seconds, nothing more. And because they knew that when we were going to animate, it was going to be longer. So if you take that rule for 30 seconds becoming 1 minute to 1 minute 30, the reason why they were so strict was because if you start making your storyboard 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, which is already too long for like a student short film that you have to do on yourself, like, or in a short time. If your board is 3 minutes long, it means your animation can easily go to 4 or 5 minutes. So that's 2 more minutes that you add, and that's crazy to think about. So I would say always aim for the lowest storyboard time, and anticipate that if you board something, your animation could be like, you could add like a third of your length to it. So if it's like 3 minutes, it might end up being 4 minutes of animation instead of 3, which looks like not a lot, but when you're inexperienced, let me tell you, a minute of animation, oof, can take a while. I know that for you and I, now that we are old people, like I'm doing a animation now for Game Grumps, which is like 1 minute, and we have like a few weeks to do it part-time, and no problem, we know how to do it. But when you're students, you don't know a lot of things, so give yourself more chances of success and make something short. I can say with confidence, right? And I can say with confidence from teaching for so many years and looking at what people do in short films, I am like, okay, I don't know if you agree, but like I always see these short films, it's like, oh yeah, my short film is like 5 minutes, but it's like an open world game that is open world but super empty. So like, yes, the short film is 5 minutes, but you could have told it in less time because there's a lot of like very slow pan, very slow fixes, and it's like, go on with the action. So if it's for a short film, I would recommend doing something a bit shorter, but better. Like it's not about the quantity of frame, it's about the quality of the frames. But yeah, I don't know if you agree.
Exactly. No, I definitely agree. Look, for even though our final films were group projects and you have more people to working with, a lot of them didn't finish their films because they were overestimating the amount of time that that a film should be. And some people want to do pilot animations, they want to do 10 plus minutes, and my school was like, sure, your funeral.
Your funeral. Oh, but that's the interesting thing. We see a lot, like it's a trend. Like some people do their short films for school. They try to make it like a pilot, like the like PP, like the cat was one of them, and that worked great. And there's a few others that did it, and don't get me wrong, it works. But if you look at the credits, you have to understand that not every school has the same objectives for these short films. For example, the school I went to, we were alone doing our project. So if you're alone, you can't do like a 7-minute pilot. Like it's just unreasonable. But if you look at PP shorts or some other student short film that became pilots, take a look at the credits. This is not a regular like student short film. Like it's not a 4-3 person work. Like there's like interns on the short film. Like it's a student short, but there's intern on it. I'm like, what? So like there's this, they hire people to do their cleanup. The animation is spread by so many people. So just make sure that your expectations are realistic for your skill set and also what this program has to offer, because every school is different. So listen to your teachers. Usually they know. They know.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like since my school were all generalist, most of the people didn't excel. I mean, it's not because they weren't good. It's more like they didn't have the tools to learn it at that school to be a master, or not master, uh, like have a dominant artistry in in which part of the animation. At least for me, I was forced to be a generalist to do almost everything, just to move the pipeline. Yeah, and 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 about being realistic about the short that you're making and such, that is so like like
Relatable?
relatable, because like I mentioned, a lot of films that went to my school didn't finish because they wanted to do a pilot animation but not have the understandings of what it takes to create that pilot animation. One of the 3D films wants to do a Pixar-like looking animation without knowing that rendering takes a long time.
Yeah.
You're kind of like a render farm. Yeah, that and it's sad because there was one film that was really good, and it's a 3D film from my school, that the only reason they didn't finish is because they couldn't render it, because they had so many effects.
That's so sad.
Though here's the thing. They had crowd shots not be 2D, they all be 3D for some. They made some decisions that weren't render friendly.
But you know what? I bet they learned. I mean, I hope that they learned a heck ton with that project, which brings back to what we were saying. It's okay to fail your project. You have to learn from it, though.
Oh, definitely. They all became professionals after that.
Like, that's cool. Glad to hear.
One of them went to Nickelodeon. The other one went to work for a major animation studio in Puerto Rico. So they all, I'm super proud of them either way for their accomplishments. So I'm still happy for them. Yeah,
that's so nice. So speaking of like making these short film and actually finishing them, do you know if there's any non-animation related skills and knowledge that we need to start to complete your project? Because people always talk about animation and stuff, but like there's soft skills that you need as well.
Oh yeah. First of all, organization. That's a major thing. It's like organize your time, organize how many shots you want, organize, make sure all the files are visible.
Naming.
That's the one thing. No, naming your files correctly, because naming a file 1x5, it's not gonna help to my wish file. I was a victim of that as well. Like I recently was going back to my old files, and I couldn't find what I was looking for, because they were all named not after the project. They were just named file 1 or something like that.
Wow.
Another thing that I would say. Sorry. Continue.
No, I was just agreeing. So yeah, go on.
Yeah, another thing that is a that is a, I wouldn't say, I mean, it is a skill, is having the right attitude. Because a lot of people have don't either not disciplined enough, or don't have the right attitude when pursuing a project, or like they the doom gloom, like, oh, this project is taking too long or something like that. It's okay to rant, but it's not okay to do it all the time to the point where you're like losing confidence in your project or something.
But yeah, that's a good point, because even in industry, like I was gonna say, like, not everything is gonna go to plan. So you just have to learn to, yes, be mad, yes, complain, but then you have to act and, like, accept that it's not going well and just, like, find solutions.
Oh, definitely. Like, a lot for my final project. I was very grateful that I had a friend that was looking out for me, because I was for that project, I was about to quit. like I was like,
no.
I was like, I don't want to work. I don't want to work on this anymore. I'm sorry, guys.
But why?
Because I was overworking myself. But a good friend of mine that was working on the project was like, if you're gonna quit this, I'm gonna literally fine you.
Oh my god.
No, but it was a friend, so I really mean it as a don't quit speech. So she helped me, since it was a group project. She helped me delegate more of the project and not put the workload on me, and basically said, like, okay, have these 3 days to just do nothing.
Well, taking a break is so important.
Oh, definitely. That's a skill of itself, not overworking yourself.
It is.
Yeah.
And do you have any tricks or tips and tricks for cutting corners when you're working on a project, like an animated project?
Tips and tricks. So, one. I guess it's more like a tip. Don't animate on ones.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I animated on ones on one of the projects, and I regretted
it. Like, your animation will not look better if you animate on ones. It won't.
That's a common mistake on like students, like that they think that the animation would look better on ones when it's just more work. And twos is just as fine.
And I have one last thing.
Another tip that oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
Oh, sure. Another tip that I will say to do on these projects is to make sure that everybody knows the frame rate that you want. Now that we're talking about frames and such, the frame rate that you want to work on, because different people have different animation styles and different ways of animating. So let them know that you want to do a snappy 3 or 4s, or you want to go a fluid 2 3s. Just let them.
Way to
clear communication. Oh, sorry, dude.
Oh, I was just going to say, one way to make sure that the style is in check is actually to have examples of style. So when you do your show film into like your research documents, make sure to always have like references to what you want it to look like in terms of not just visual, but timing as well. Find a couple of shows that you think have similar timings, and just have them videos to be like, this is what I want in terms of animation. So, yeah.
Having a guide is always the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, style guide, animation guide, anything guide.
Yeah, we have some
more references or guides that you have. Okay.
Oh yeah, you're right. But yeah, the more references and stuff you have, the better. That is so true. Yeah, I was gonna say we don't have much time left, like 5-ish minutes. Oh my god. Is there a question in the little sheet that I sent to you that we didn't cover yet that you really want to cover?
Oh, let me see. Let me see. Wait, I don't see the question. I don't see the questions. Where are they?
On Discord. But that probably means no. So just to finish, one question I really like to ask when I have people on these streams is, especially for students, like when you're going to animate your short or when you go into like the industry, how do you go about animating something new that you don't know how, that you've never done before? So like when I animated on Big Hero 6, they were like, I thought I finished my scene, I send it off, and they're like, it's not done, you forgot the fire. I'm like, yeah, the fire is for the effects department, right? They're like, we don't have an effects department, do it. I'm like, oh. So I never animated fire before. Even in school, we did a candle. Candle is not obliterating fire. So, I had to learn it. So how would you approach something that you've never did before?
I Google YouTube. Google the name of the effects that I want to do and, and see a tutorial. But besides that, I know it sounds funny. It's so difficult, but it does. A lot of information is out there on YouTube and such to Google. But and after I see the tutorials, I'll basically save a separate file just to practice.
That's good.
Practice that effect. And when I feel more confident, that's when I apply what I learned. So a combination of research and practice will go a long way. And until this day, I still like Google. Google a lot of stuff for like compositing and such. Since a lot of information is out there, you're not gonna know every effects in no man. So finding different ways to do it and effects as such goes a long way.
Yeah, and if we talk about effects, one advice I can say also is look at the real thing. Like, go look at
a masterpiece or creating something for your legacy of as an animator or a career. It's about learning, and not only learning, also preparing for the professional level. So I say that to be successful at school is to have is to at the end of your graduation, not only that you have a demo reel that you're proud of that are made from animation practices that you made at school, but also that when you're in a professional level and you're tackling new stuff, you already know. You already are calm and know how to handle it or how to resolve it. So yeah, that's my main thing.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Where can we find you, and what socials should we share? Like, you can share them to me on Discord, and I'm going to share them there on the chats. But yeah, so
okay.
Where can we find you? What do you do in life? What's your deal?
What's my deal? Well, you can find me on Instagram on Instagram and on Twitter as 3V Rosado. I'll write it for you in chat real quick. And also I work for Apeship Studios. I'll write that for you too. And a lot of the animations there I worked on either as an animator or as a compositor. So and that's mainly where you can find me. I'm still working on a YouTube channel just to share stuff that I've done before, but for now it's just Instagram and Twitter. Well, I mean, X, I guess.
Nice. So I'm going to post it into the chats. You can find Mr. Rosado here. Just type at R3V Rosado. And yeah, so thank you so much for coming to the stream, and thank you people in the audience to watch. Of course, these are also available on video on demand. Later in a few days, it's going to be on YouTube. And yes, have a lovely day. Don't forget to check out our website at that are in the chat at the moment. Thank you, Janelle. And to stay tuned for more streams that we have later in the week. So have a nice day. Goodbye.